Good morning, everyone. Okay, Rank to Ruby. This is your last official training, and I am thrilled beyond measure to have Brenna Stull close us out in awesome training. Brenna is located in Arizona, the Scottsdale area. She is mom extraordinaire, a pastor's wife, and she has not only a passion, the most important passion for Jesus, but she's also come to love the Plexus products, and she's making quite a mark in the world of health and wellness. So Brenna, I'm going to turn it over to you for training.
Thank you so much, Rainey. So today I just want to invite you to join me for an upside down and backwards party. The date is today and the time starts now, and it has no ending. Running shoes are recommended. The address is your home office, and there's no need for an RSVP. You already did that when you signed in to be included in the Rank to Ruby group. What's the occasion, you ask? Lowering your IQ level. IQ is I quit. We want to lower our IQ level. Have you ever been to an upside down and backwards party? That might be the cake might have the small piece on the bottom and then bigger and bigger, or you might see people with a shirt on their legs and then pants on their top, and you might see hats upside down. The reason that we're going to go to the upside down party today is because we're going to do things that are counterintuitive to what is expected in order to get ourselves in the right frame of mind for being in it for the long run. So our party mantra, our counterintuitive party mantra is, this may not be for you, and that's okay, but you're invited. As we're on this quest to gather others to join us in our passion and our mission, one phrase that we will say over and over again is, this may not be for you, and that's okay. Counterintuitive, but it also plays a key role in helping people relax and open their minds to actually the thought of coming to the party with us. So why do we want to invite others to go to the party? First, we have to know that. Guess what? They're dying to get there. Obesity is the biggest driver of preventable disease. We know that today. More than 2/3 of adults are considered overweight, and half of those are considered obese. More than 1/3 of children are considered overweight or obese. More than 1 in 3 adults could have diabetes by the year 2050 if things continue to progress as they are now. The cost of obesity every year in America is somewhere estimated between $147 billion to $210 billion a year. And we know that 64% of Americans, that's nearly 3 out of 4 Americans, list that their biggest stress in their life is finances. We know that we have something that addresses both of these things. We have some answers. We've seen it change our lives. We've seen it change the lives of others. So although not all will accept the invitation that we're offering, we have a burning passion and responsibility to share. We need to make sure we have a mindset to not quit inviting people to the party. We're going to need to have our running shoes on to be in this upside down and backwards party for the long run. So let's talk about how we're going to run. We're going to run to be still. Run to be still. That's counterintuitive, isn't it? We're running to be still. One of the most important things that we can do, and I'm so happy that I hear this from a lot of different ambassadors, is to stop and to focus on what really matters in the morning. And that is spending time with our Creator, getting our marching orders for the day, getting our focus. And I have a tool to recommend that I've been using to do this for 20 some years. It's called a prayer journal. And I just did a video on how to make your own prayer journal. And it's on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is The Plexus Coach. And basically, I like keeping my prayer journal in a little 3-ring binder. There's little cute ones at Staples or other places you can find. But having one place where I keep, first of all, my focus for the year. I always pray and ask the Lord, what's the focus for the year? And what's really cool with these 3-ring binders is I can keep each year's focus. And so it goes back to literally, I've got years that go all the way back to 1994. I've got every year. And so I can look back through and see what God's bringing to my attention each year. And when I open that up in the morning, I've got my focus. But this hand in hand with my Bible has been such a key part of the Lord keeping me focused. I share a lot more about it on my blog or on the YouTube channel, theplexuscoach.com, on how to make a prayer journal. But it's just explains how to, put it together so it's kind of cute, and it's got attachments that you can use for each section. Some of the things that I've come across that I like to go over as I come to each section. It's got a God's words to me. So when something sticks out that I'm reading along in the Bible and I just think, wow, I need to remember that, I write it there. And that's like the one section that I've kept through the years. I keep those and put those in another, in notebooks and save, because that's really important, what God's told me. The other things like the Thanksgiving and confession and all that, I pull those out and throw those away. And I just use those on a daily basis. But I really recommend, this is a powerful tool. And I share some stories about the way God's used that in my life on that one YouTube channel or YouTube post. So included in this, I also keep my scriptural affirmations. And I know we talk a lot about affirmations and how much that helps us. So I do have some suggestions. That's one of the included in the attachments. Is the scriptural affirmations, and saying these things is so powerful. Saying the truth. We've talked so much, and I know we've had full hour talks about how what we say to ourselves really, really matters. And putting truth into our minds is such an important part of staying in this and staying focused in the long run, because there are going to be dream killers left and right that are like, why are you at that party? Whatever it is, but they're going to be saying, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? But we just have to stay focused. So going over those scriptural affirmations daily. I have the scriptural affirmations also on my blog, which is brennastull.com/blog. I think it's the second or third post down. I don't post a ton, and I just posted it a few months ago. So it might be 3 down, but there's some suggestions if you're looking for affirmations that you can tell yourself. They're right there on my blog. You might even include a motivating phrase that you've got written in your journal that you're going to see every day. I prayed about doing this, and I was taking and enjoying the products and praying, Lord, is this something that you would like me to do as a business? And I wasn't sure. We had moved. I knew I needed a business opportunity. We had moved from Texas. We had 5 children, and we moved from Texas, took a half cut in pay to come leave a large church and come plant a new church in Arizona. And we needed the income. And then we adopted 2 more children internationally. So that was a cost. And then we had 9 people in our family to take care of instead of 7. And so things were really, really adding up. But wasn't understanding why God wasn't giving me the green light on the business. Now I know, I believe it was timing, because it was a big transition for us that first year with our kids. And I don't think I could have really survived trying to do one more thing that first year. But right at our year one mark, I got this huge green light on the Plexus business. And I was so excited, like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then as soon as I started to post that first, I started sweating bullets. Like, oh my goodness. Like, what are people going to think when they, like, are they going to understand? And how are they going to perceive this? And I just started sweating bullets. I know we've probably all been there. What I really felt like God whispered to me at that moment when I was praying about it, how to do this and can I do this? And I really felt like God asked me, Brenna, do you care more about what people think about you, or do you care more about people? And leaning into this opportunity that I'm giving you to help your family. And so I think one of my phrases would be, that's motivating, is, do I care more about what people think about me, or do I care more about people? So this has really, really, really been a blessing. So having the scripture, the prayer, the reading the word, writing down what stands out to me, having my focus for the year. God, I pray that each year that God gives me a word or a scripture that I can really focus on each year. This year, he gave me breakthrough. So I am so excited, because I'm believing breakthrough for our church, breakthrough for our family. It's been a really hard transition, but things are getting better. Breakthrough in my business. And so also praying for wisdom. Lord, I'm doing this. Just help me to do it. You know all things. You know who needs this. Open people's hearts to this. Taking the time to really sit and listen when we read the word is so important, and it can change everything. And just a quick story I wanted to share. I learned about sitting down and having a quiet time in 7th grade. I went to camp, but I have to kind of tell you, the background on the story is I was so obsessed with fitting in and looking like my friends in 6th grade and 7th grade. And I started to hit puberty, and my hair literally kinked up and was just so uncontrollably frizzy. And my mom would always tell me, if you just cut it off, it would just curl up and be so cute. And I'd be like, Mom, short hair is for old people. That kind of hair is for old people. I was just a real brat about it. We lived in Dallas, and Dallas is usually like 99 to 100% humidity most days. And back then it was like the weather line where you call on the phone that's plugged into the wall. And every day, the first thing when my alarm went off, I would spring out of bed, run, call the weather line. It would tell me 99% humidity or whatever. And I'd be like, oh, it's going to be a bad day. And so everything revolved around my hair. And I would literally spend an hour and a half fixing just my hair in the morning. And I would have to dry it in 3 layers and then straighten it in 3 layers. I wanted to be just like my friends. And I was so obsessed with fitting in. One day after I learned about, having a quiet time, reading my Bible, I was sitting there reading my Bible, and I came across Psalm 139. You're beautifully and wonderfully made. I know that full well. And it hit me so hard. And I realized what a brat I'd been. I was so convicted, because basically every day I was saying, this is not good enough. I am not happy with the way I'm made. And I realized God thinks I'm beautifully and wonderfully made. And that changed everything for me, because I accepted that. I wrote that down, and I completely changed. I did a 180, complete 180. I came home. I was a free girl. I came home. I said, Mom, cut it all off. Cut it off. And I still can't believe I trusted my mom. My mom cut my hair from like long to fro. And, but I didn't even care. She was like, oh my goodness. She's getting the hair magazines to figure out how do I cut hair she cut it off. I didn't even care. This went from total obsession to free. And it just curled up, and it was a just tight, kinky fro. And I walked to school the next morning. I'm a triplet. My brother and sister and I were walking to the school bus. And my brother and I, the strongest personalities, were always head to head. And he said, and he walked like 12 steps ahead of me. And he was like, if anyone laughs at my sister. And I thought, oh my goodness, it's bad when he's taking up for me. It must be really bad. But I didn't even care. I was totally free. Do you think that changed the trajectory of my life the rest of that year in 8th grade and 9th grade and 10th grade? And you know what? We just never know what a word from God is going to do. But I know that totally changed my life. It empowered me. We can have the same thing. You never know how God will use his word in your life if you take the time. So also praying for God to send people to you who need the products and the opportunity. So that first thing that we're going to run to with our running shoes is running to be still. The second thing we're going to do is run to hard daily activity. If we really want to do something, we can do it with daily activity. I don't care what kind of a situation you're in. You can pull off a little bit of daily activity every day. When I had 5 children, ages 9 and under, I felt compelled to write a book for moms. You know what? I assessed my schedule. It looked pretty full, as you can imagine. But you know what? I realized I had about a 30-minute to 1-hour block in my day when I only had one of the 5 children who needed me. The first 2 were in 2 different schools, but 2 different elementary schools. I had my 3rd son was in half-day kindergarten that got out at like 10:30. Is that not the worst? That's not even fair. I remember going to Costco and being like there, right when they opened the doors, I'd like run in, get all my stuff, run home and get him. But he got out at 10:30. The baby would be down for a morning nap, and that left just Micah, who was like 2 or 3 at the time. And that was just me and Micah. And I thought, you know what? There's my window. I've got it every day. It may be 30 minutes. It may be 1 hour. Some days it was even more, but I put together a notebook and I just thought I'm going to log my time and I'm going to write during that half hour. And so I started the notebook. I wrote down the date and how long that I worked and what I got done, how many pages I got written. And the good Lord gave me, my 4th son was so calm, and he would just literally zoom little cars at my feet and work puzzles, and then he'd sit on my lap and put his head right here on my chest. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I was feeling the love, typing away, and I just kept telling him, Betty, if this book ever gets published, it is dedicated to you. You are awesome. And sure enough, it got published, and in the front is the dedication to Micah because he was so patient. But I had to make a plan, right? I had to stick to it. I looked around. I remembered the biggest thing was laundry. I remember seeing, baskets of laundry sitting on the couch, and I'd be like, no, I have to stay focused. I've got to do this. The laundry will be waiting there when I finish. And I actually made progress on it. In 4 months, I got the full rough draft written. I figured out it's 8 chapters. That means I've got 2 weeks for each chapter. And I knew that I had to finish it before summer break. And that was coming in 4 months. And the good Lord blessed me, and I was able to get it done. Taking that time to get organized, like with a notebook, I know that made a lot of difference. So getting yourself organized. I really appreciated the call a couple of weeks ago that Taryn shared some great organizing tips with us. I know keeping a to-do list all in one place has been a big thing for me. And this is something that I'm working on right now, is putting it in this book, because I actually lost my book, which is very scary. But I had everything in one place, and I left it in a store about a month ago. So that's the only thing about having it all in one place. But having that, like, I have one page that has my to-do list. It has like my email, internet tasks in one little section. It has my calls to make in one section. Up here, projects to do that are like home projects that I know I need to organize that, whatever space that's going to be done, or repair that, but it's off my mind and onto the paper, so I know I won't forget it. Gifts to give, right there on the right side, and then errands to run, things like that. People to see, and just keeping all that on one sheet. And then having the plexus things on another, that's a whole nother section. But a big part of this hard daily activity, I think, too, is finding someone who believes in you. Someone, I know they talk about power partners and things like that. For me, with the book, I felt like everyone around me that I talked to about it, including my husband, didn't believe I could do it. When I came up with this idea, I think God's telling you to write a book. And he's like, oh yeah, you'll do it when I write that for you. And I'm just like, ooh, this is scary. I needed someone to encourage me, but I wasn't finding anyone. And I remember God brought a friend, Georgia Lessard, someone I hardly knew, but long story short, I was praying, God, you've got to send me someone who's an editor. I don't know anyone. And I was working in the church nursery that very next day. And I'm like rocking a baby next to this other lady that had rocked many of my babies. But I really didn't know that much about her. And someone said something about, when are you going to quit your job? And she said, I'm never going to quit my job. I love my job. And I said, what do you do, Georgia? And she said, I'm an editor. And anyway, I was like, can we talk? And so I told her my idea, just trembling, like, I'm so scared. This is the scariest thing I've ever thought about. And we were talking it through, and she goes, now be sure and keep a list of everybody that helps you along the way, because you're going to want to thank people in the acknowledgments. And I just about belted into tears, and I said, Georgia, you believe I can do this. And she goes, of course I believe. Why wouldn't I? And I grabbed hold of that. God gave me that belief through Georgia. Another one of my friends, Andrea Huss, said, you know what? Every author has their first book. Every author that wrote their first book. And that just was a phrase I held on to. Those little bits of encouragement you've got to hold on to when you're dreaming something that's big and scary. Another thing that I learned as a writer is it can't be perfect. When I write, I literally set the timer. I still do this. And I tell myself, you know what? I'm about to be graded in 1 hour on whatever is on this paper. Because otherwise I sit there and I'm looking for the perfect phrase to start with, or this or that. But I know I've got to get something down, and I've got to get it down right now, one way or the other. Did you know that most newspaper articles have been edited 18 times before they're published? You just have to get started. Don't be a defeated perfectionist. We learn as we go, so don't hesitate. Those who succeed get moving. Momentum is a big deal in what we do, because attrition is going to happen because of various reasons. Again, counterintuitive. We must expect attrition. Attrition is going to happen. If we are expecting attrition, then it's not going to emotionally get us down. And in order to get to our destination, if we want to get there, the faster that we can move, the less work it's going to take to get there if we move faster, right? Because attrition is always happening. We need to do the hardest things first. Reach out and invite people to the party. Again, like I said, I had to try to block out those laundry baskets that were waiting to be folded, and say, it will be waiting. So let's remember that we're saying this may not be for you, and that's okay. Figure out what works best for you as far as reaching out to people. I try to reach out to a few people and follow up with a number of people every day. But I also know that I've never been the type of person, you know how they say, bring a new clothing item into your closet, take one out at the same time. You bring one toy home to your child, take one toy out. I've never really operated well that way. I do better with the big batches of time. So what I try to do, because I know that I want to move quickly now, is I try to get in at least 2 days of reaching out to like 25 to 30 people at a time. And I know I've timed it that I can reach about 30, I can leave about 30 voicemails on Facebook Messenger in 70 minutes. So just a little more than an hour. Find out what works for you and do that. What's very motivating to me is the number of friends I'm now coming across that are saying, yeah, I signed up for Plexus. I love it. I'm doing it as a business. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, when did you sign up? And they're like, just 4 months ago. And I'm like, you know what? I want to talk to more people faster. I don't want to just be someone's third-party validation by posting on Facebook and then someone else has talked to someone. I want them to be on my team. So one thing to remember, because I know Lauren posted something about the greatest fears, and a lot of us are fearful. We're all fearful about how people are going to think of us if we reach out to them. But you know what I want to remind you of is almost everyone appreciates an invitation to the party, even if they don't know if they want to go or not. Truly, most people appreciate being thought of. I'm amazed at how many people have told me no, but followed it with, but stay after me, or, but don't give up on me. And I'm thinking, wow, if this many people have said those two phrases to me, how many others are thinking it and feeling that way, but they haven't verbalized it? I have this friend that's very, very driven. She's with Plexus. She's amazing as far as getting tasks done. She's type A. One of the words I would never really think of her when I think of her in the beginning is caring. I would think of her as driven, goal setter. She can sometimes just roll right through a little too quick. Well, I was talking with one of my friends sharing Plexus, and she said, well, this person had already talked to her. And she said, so if I ever did it, I would need to go with her. And she goes, she's just so caring. She used that word for her. And I'm just like, bing, 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 bing. This shows me how she's interpreting this person following up with her time and time again. It's caring. Another thing, running to the hard things. We need to run to personal growth. There's so much available on YouTube by Plexus Jules. I love to listen to videos. I have my smartphone, my little earphones when I'm doing dishes, when I'm getting ready in the morning, when I'm getting ready at night. I'm always listening to training calls. That's building belief and all kinds of things. But Sonia Dudley, Tara Castanedas, Emily Roberts, Sarah Taylor, there are so many others who are really great, but just keeping that going when I go out for a run. If I'm not listening to a sermon by something, podcast, I'm listening to training for Plexus. So doing those hard things first. So we're running to be still. We're running to do the hard things. We're running to objections. Running to objections. Again, counterintuitive, right? When I was a little girl, one of the things at my grandma's table that I learned not to say is, my stomach kind of hurts. Because you know what I learned she would do? She would stand up immediately, grab my hand, run me to the bathroom and say, you need an enema. And that was her mode of operation. So we don't want to be those type people. She was dragging me to somewhere where I did not want to go, right? And I was definitely objecting, but it never worked. I learned after 2 or 3 times, don't even bring up the subject around her. Do not, because she's going to try to drag me somewhere I don't want to go. We don't want to be those type people, right? So when people are, when people say they're tired or they can't sleep at night or they want to lose weight, I mean, we can't hop on them the way that my grandma yanked me up and ran me, or we're definitely going to be hearing some objections. But I do want to say objections are natural. That's another thing we need to expect. We need to expect objections. That's just a natural thing. And if you think back to when you first heard about Plexus, I think you'll probably realize that you had a lot of objections and thoughts yourself about that. Again, this may not be for you, and that's okay. Even when we present it in a non-threatening way, unlike grandma, we should expect these objections as a natural part of the process, and we should run to them. We don't need to shrink back and let the objection be the final word. I think that's when we're thinking, oh, I don't know about my products well enough, and we just kind of go, oh yeah, you're right, they are expensive. I didn't think they'd work for you, or we cannot allow objections to be the final word. People need these products, and we know that if they'll give them a chance, there's a good chance that they can change their life. Just because they have objections doesn't mean they don't want to do it. They simply have a question. And the biggest skeptics actually often make the best ambassadors in the end, because they're the ones that really check it out. So one of the first objections, pricing. Like we said, we talked about one of the biggest stressors for people is finances. So obviously this is going to be one of the first objections. If people are coming back with pricing to you a lot, you probably haven't built enough value into the products before bringing up the price. The biggest thing that we can do is ask questions. When we're talking to people, we need to find out about them and find out what they need, and then be able to suggest what they need. So if a lot of times people try to bring that up in the very beginning, first of all, tell me how much does this stuff cost? The best thing that we can do is put that off till the end when we really know what they need. And so we can just tell them, you know what, we're definitely going to talk about that. First of all, I need to hear from you so that we can figure out exactly what's going to be best for you. And save that back for the end, after you've already built up the value and what it's going to do for them and what you need to recommend. Again, I know we've heard this a lot, but using that feel, felt, found is really key. Think back to how you first thought about pricing, and then tell them, you know what, I understand how you feel. I felt the same way. I felt this, but this is what I've found. And then share with them your personal experience, whether it's you're not going to Starbucks every day anymore, you're not buying the sugary snacks, things like that. Plexus really is a tool for lifestyle change. And a lot of times, I know I'm personally off of many prescriptions, and I've hardly been to the doctor. I'm going to the doctor for well checks. So I've saved a ton of money. Yes, I've spent money on Plexus, but I've saved money from what I just was thinking was a normal expected cost with my prescriptions. So that's pricing. We're hopping right over that price objective. Do the products work? That's another one. Do they really work? Well, first of all, we can share with them that Plexus boasts a 1% return rate. Even though it's no questions asked, 60-day money-back guarantee, 1% return rate. Again, if you had the same concerns, think back to how you felt about it and say, I understand how you feel. I felt the same way. This is what I've found. And share your personal experiences about how they worked for you. If you've got different issues than the person you're talking to, try to think, do you have a friend in Plexus, or have you read a testimonial of someone who had that same issue, and tell them what happened in their life. You can also bring up the fact an almost billion-dollar company that has a 60-day money-back guarantee does not sell products that don't work. Is this a pyramid scheme? That's the objection that can raise the hair on the back of our, on our back. Don't get upset about this. Pyramid schemes they really do exist. So that is a valid concern, right? Let's see this as an opportunity to share how Plexus is different. This is a chance to brag and to really let them know. And we're glad that they voiced it, because someone might be thinking it, but they're too scared to ask. Say, I'm so glad you asked. Again, counterintuitive, right? Because we don't really want people asking that question. Counterintuitive. I asked the same question, but you know what? I didn't really know what a pyramid scheme is. Do you know what a pyramid scheme is? Most people don't. I know I didn't. Not until I got a policeman on my team who explained to me. He had been a detective who actually, this was one of his specialties, was to crack down on pyramid schemes. He explained to me what it was, that it's actually, it's where you have to buy in for some crazy fee, and only the people at the very top make any money. The middle people don't, the lower people don't. There's really no product being exchanged for that money. What we can explain to people is ours is a product-based company. You can make more money than your sponsor. You can even out-earn them without outranking them. And not only do we have products, but it's only $34.95 to join. We are definitely not a pyramid scheme, but I am so glad that you asked. I'm so glad you brought up that. How about, is this a scam? This is, again, a valid concern. People are especially concerned about weight loss products. There are a lot of weight loss product scams out there, right? So I know, even though we're a gut health company and all that, a lot of the focus is on the way that we draw people in is weight loss, because that's something that people want. And people aren't always concerned about gut health. But we can explain to people that Plexus does not give us quotas. There are no required purchases. We decide what we spend. Just as when you buy a Costco membership, they don't tell you you have to come back and spend this much per year. That's the same way. We buy into for $34.95. That gives us the opportunity, just like Costco, to get all the products at the very lowest price for a full year. That's all it is. And also, we might also bring up the 70,000 square foot headquarters that were just built, and they're debt free. Even with that 60-day money back guarantee, the company is debt free. Okay, bad reviews online. I know this is one that can really throw us for a loop, and I remember when I found some, and I was just like, what? And you know what? If you encourage people, first of all, we all know that people can write anything and put it on the internet, right? So blogs aren't really a reliable source. But if you encourage people to, if you go all the way down to the end, you'll usually see, for one thing, as I read through a bunch of these, I was like, man, I know how long it takes to write. And these people put in a lot of time. You're scrolling down 8 and 9 pages about how bad Plexus is. And I'm thinking, wow, and it's well edited, well worded, and like this took a while to put together. What's the motive here? Get to the end, and it's like, even though those are so bad, guess what? I've got the answer for you. For only $19.95, 6 installments, 1 a month for the next 6 months, you can have our program. And so many of them are just competitors, flat out competitors. Guys, Plexus is growing like crazy, and people know that. And people want to optimize their search engine, the search engines on Google. If they use the word Plexus, there are thousands of people searching, is Plexus legit, every day? And so they're trying to draw people in that are looking for weight loss and looking for the things that they offer. And then they're going to totally break down Plexus so no one goes that route, and then they're going to offer their product. On the whole, that's what's going on there. The the biggest thing is putting the ball back in the medical professionals' court. When people talk about the bad reviews, say, you know what, the best thing that you can do, I'll send you the ingredient list, take it to your pharmacist, take it to your doctor, have them tell you, are these ingredients going to be good? And so when you do that, that really pretty much disarms all the people that are saying these things are scary, pink drink is scary, and things like that. How about, I'm not a salesperson? The objection, I'm not a salesperson. Well, we know that's the best type of ambassador. We don't want salesy people. We want people that care about others. We want people that will share. And so just hop right over that one too. So we've got running to the objections. We are running to be still. We're running to do the hard things. We're running to the objections, and we're running, lastly, we're running to gather no's. We want to gather as many no's as we can get, because we know for every so many no's that we get, there's going to be a yes. Go for No, the book. I haven't gotten the chance to read it yet, but I've read some outlines on it. I think that sounds like an amazing way to change your mindset. Counterintuitively, we're going for no's. I heard Emily Roberts was talking about it, and she said, think about something that you really, really want, like a fancy purse or this or that you would never buy for yourself, and tell yourself, if I get 50 no's in a row, I'm going to buy myself that purse. And she said, you know, like, set a goal. I'm going to get that. And then go for as many no's as you can get. She said, guess what? You're never going to get that purse. Because for every so many, you're going to find someone that says, yes, I'll try this. It's a great way to keep yourself off the emotional roller coaster of people saying no and, oh, they must not like me. They must not like these products. Da, 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 da. I liked what Rhonda Shaw said at our Super Saturday event. She said about her and Aaron, she said, we as diamonds, you know what? We're the biggest rejects in this room. We are such rejects. You know, they're making $500,000 and everybody's sitting there going, they're making at least that, whatever. And everybody's sitting there going, no, you're not rejects. Like, you're so successful. And they're going, no, we have had more rejection. We guarantee it. We've had more rejection than any of you in this room if you're not a diamond. So what we want to go is for no's. We want to go for rejection because we know for every so many, it's going to take so many rejections to get us to diamond. I love the story that has been passed around a lot. Maybe you haven't heard it, is about someone coming to offer coffee and saying, would you like some coffee? Would you like some coffee? You know, do you think people get offended? Do you think the server gets offended when you say, no, no, thank you? Now, you know, oh, you don't want my coffee? I'm giving up. I'm not offering coffee anymore. You know, no, it's just a timing issue, right? It could be either you may not want the coffee for some other reason. You can't have caffeine, or you know what? It's just not the right time. Whenever this little batch is finished with my cream at just the right degree, you know, I'm going to get some more and I'm going to add my cream the way I like it. So always following up and checking back with people if they want that coffee. We can't get offended when people say no. Let's remember what people have told me. You know, follow up with me. Like, don't stay after me. Don't give up on me. Going back and saying, you know what, is now a good time? Just checking back. I truly believe that people appreciate being thought of. So don't take them off your list. I'm really excited. Have had a number of people sign up this month on my team, and I'm in conversation with a few other people who I've been talking to as much as over a year that are talking right now, and just sticking with it is so important. So I'm glad that we're in this upside down and backwards party together. And I pray that the Lord gives us swift feet and wisdom for the counterintuitive journey that we're running. We're running to be still through prayer, scriptural affirmations, and reading God's word. We're running hard in daily activity. We're doing the difficult tasks first and knowing that it's not going to be perfect, but we're going to get something done. We're going to move. We're finding someone who believes in us. We're letting people know that they're thought of by reaching out. We're running to objections, and we're running on a quest to collect the most no's possible. So I look forward to celebrating this party in Maui with you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, that was so awesome. And it just so happens, I'm going to take them off. I came prepared. I have my running shoes on. So I hope you all choose to join us, put on your running shoes, and let's go to this backwards, upside down, amazingly fun party. Brenna, you rocked the socks off of this training, and I made a comment while you were talking that I have pages and pages, copious notes here, and you did an amazing job. I had zero doubt that that's exactly what you would deliver. So I thank you so, so much. I'm going to end the recording. I thank all of you for tuning in, but for those of you that are on, please stay on and we will open it up for some questions if you have any. But for those of you that are watching it on replay, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today and tuning in.